Hello. Today we're going to take a look at systems of equations and how to determine whether they have one solution, no solutions, or an infinite number of solutions. We're going to take a look at solving both graphically and using algebra. Let's go. Okay, let's take a look at this example. And the first thing we're going to want to do is get it into y equals mx plus b form so that we can enter it into our graphing calculator. So if I subtract 2x from both sides, I get 3y equals minus 2x plus 27. Now I divide both sides by 3, and I get y equals negative 2/3 x plus 9. Okay, let's do it again over here. I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides, and I'm going to divide both sides by 12, and I'm going to simplify, and that's my line. So now I'm going to enter both of those into my graphing calculator, and I'm going to go ahead and graph. Okay, and visually, I can see these two lines will never intersect. And if they never intersect, they have no solutions. Now, let's go back and take a look at that algebra again. So there's our algebra. Notice that our slopes are the same. When slopes are the same, but our y-intercepts are different, then our lines are parallel. So once we got it into y equals mx plus b form, we don't even have to graph. We can look at this and notice that the two lines are parallel and therefore they will have no solutions in common. Let's look at another case. Okay, so in this system, once again, first thing we want to do, get it into y equals mx plus b form, because as you just saw, that gives us a lot of information. All right, so using our big fat algebra skills, we find both of these equations are y equals 3/4 x plus 4, y equals 3/4 x plus 4. Well, watch what happens if we graph those. Okay, so there are my two equations, and now I'm going to graph. So there it is drawing the first line, and there it is drawing the second line. Well, why can't we see the second line? Because it is exactly the same, which means this system of equations has an infinite number of solutions because there are an infinite number of points on a line, and all of those points solve both equations since they're exactly the same. So algebraically, that's what it looks like. And then we just showed you why that means that this system of equations has an infinite number of solutions. Now, finally, let's look at x minus y equals 6, 2x plus y equals 4. So for my top equation, I'm going to subtract x from both sides. Then I'm going to multiply through by a -1. And that's my first equation. For this one, I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. And there's my equation. So now I'm going to go ahead and pick up my graphing calculator. I'm going to enter these both, and I'm going to graph them. Okay, so there are my two equations. Now I'm going to go ahead and graph. I can see that these two equations intersect at exactly 1 point. And if I want to know the solution, I could go ahead into calculate and I could solve for the intersection, or I could go ahead and trace to it. But my problem right now is just how to determine whether they have one, none, or an infinite number. So that's how to determine graphically. But if we take a look at these two and we want to know how to determine from the equations, well, one thing to do once I have them both set equal to y is to set them equal to each other and solve. But another thing I want you to notice is this one has a slope of -2. This one has a slope of 1. Since they do not have the same slope, that means they are not parallel, nor are they the same line, and therefore they will have exactly one solution. If you come upon the following as you're doing your solving of the system of equations, that is an impossibility, and that means you've just discovered no solutions, meaning your lines are parallel. If as you're solving, you go ahead and find something like 3 equals 3, well, that's going to be true all the time, no matter what your x or your y are, which means you have an infinite number of solutions, meaning they were exactly the same line. And if as you're solving, you get to something that says, then you have just found the x coordinate of the place where they intersect, you plug that in to find the y, and you have discovered that your system of equations has one solution. Okay, Take a look at this again. Check out my Algebra 1 and Algebra 2 playlist. Please feel free to leave in the comments any topic that you would like to see a video on. Consider subscribing to my channel so you know when I put out a new video. And as always, keep on mathing.